Bruce Gas. I saw that. She's gone, dude. She's gone. My wife like just told me. Fucking good riddance, dude. Now I'll be honest. What's his name? Babe, who is it that's replacing him? Replacing Gnome? I forget his name, but he's kind of a big piece of shit too. So it's like, fuck, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's great that Christy Gnome is gone. Bruce, it makes me so upset, dude. Let me tell you what makes me so upset. Okay. When Nick Shirley first came out with his bullshit, I believed it. I didn't, because I know there's rampant corruption. I know there is, from the top of government to the bottom of government, from local and civil to nationwide and federal. Okay. There's corruption everywhere. Now, I find it strange that nobody wants to talk about the corruption and the money that goes missing from the giant War Department, where trillions in black budget shit just, who cares, right? I find it funny that that's the money they never want to talk about. No, let's talk about fucking poor kids, and people who start after school programs. Let me tell you something right now. Okay, there's 3 people in Texas that I know of that had after school programs, okay, where they taught boxing to kids, not to send them to the Olympics, not to become Freddie Roach. All right, this is purely them giving back. He got a few $100 a month, I think, that paid for like the Gatorade and like rented some small fucking shack. All 3 of those guys today, their programs got taken away, or the money they lost for their programs. And you could say maybe boxing isn't worth our federal dollars, but I can tell you, keeping kids off the street sure as fuck is. And so yeah, it's just fucking retarded, dude. Yeah, let's just go bomb Iran and get into another fucking endless war. I'm sorry, that's not what I want to talk about. Well, kind of, because it is the art of war. And I shouldn't have made this title, by the way, Bruce. I was like, oh my God. As soon as I went live, I went, oh my God, I just put the art of war while we, America, are at war. Like, I literally was trying to edit it right now because I feel like it's just in shitty taste. But truthfully, holy shit, guys. If you do not know what has happened of the last like couple of hours, we're still getting, news. We're still getting updates from this. But let me share the screen real quick. Not that one. Not that one either. We'll talk about that one. But welcome to the family. Eddie Hearn has posted an hour ago. Tom Aspinall. That is right. UFC heavyweight champion. All right. Call him what he is. Tom Aspinall. Now, Tom Aspinall has been in some here's the thing. I don't think it's controversial at all. I think the only people that think Tom Aspinall's current predicament in the UFC is controversial are people that have never fought. They're the people that have never put on gloves, never taken a punch in the face, and fuck that. They're also the people that have never ever like had an athletic endeavor at even a significantly high level, even like high level in like juniors or something, right? Maybe you went to like the Little League World Series or even like state finals, whatever, right? Like you don't even have that experience. You don't even have the like most minimum version of the experience. And it's not to say that there's not pressure at the Little League World Series. Of course there is. There's immense pressure on those kids who have the least amount of coping skills. All right. That was me, by the way. I made it to state. We made it to a game before going there. Right. And it was some of the biggest pressure I was ever under at that age. I mean, you're being interviewed by the fucking local newspaper for the first time in your life, and then you're mad because they didn't pick you and they picked the pitcher that's badass on your team and you're like, fuck that guy. No, I'm just playing. That's what happened, but no, you grow out of that. But anyway, Eddie Hearn is out here playing fucking chess, all right, at the most strategic fucking level. All that, you're crying, I don't like the crying. Bro, he ain't crying today, is he? My man's got a big ass smile on his face. And you know why? You want to know why? Because I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Tom Aspinall is more valuable than Connor Benn. And that secret is not very well kept. All right. At the end of the day, look, this is Matchroom's marketing agency. Okay. I don't want to blow this up into something it's not. And if anything, by the language, and we're going to go over what we're seeing here, and I'm going to give my take on, what I am seeing between the lines. But if you're going to call today's announcement anything, right, it's not a furtherance in Tom Aspinall's combat sports career as it relates to his goal of fighting professional boxing. What it actually interprets as more by the announcement and the words and the verbiage that's being carefully crafted, it almost sounds more like Eddie Hearn is saying, fuck it. I'll get into MMA, from whatever vantage point that is, right? Because Eddie doesn't have to be a promoter in UFC. Whoever said that, these guys and their egos, that's the problem, right? I've read The Art of War. I didn't understand it super well, but I read it. And then in college, I read no, actually it was out of college. I rented from the library a great courses thing on the like full study and breakdown of The Art of War. And what you understand is that like things like attrition, things like things that you wouldn't understand, right? Like because when you conceptualize war, at least me as a child and watching and growing up on like Van Damme and Arnold Schwarzenegger and like Stallone movies, it's about like who's got the biggest gun, right? Like I'm from 80s, 90s America, right? And we were just like when we were kids, dude, we just had rocket hard-ons for Hulk Hogan and for the Ultimate Warrior and for Schwarzenegger and for fucking Stallone. It was like we just wanted to see these juiced up meatheads on our screen and fucking salute them while we're eating our apple pie and fucking got our hot dog and we put it into a drink so we could fucking chug it and then we fucking crack open our Budweiser and our fucking Cowboy Killers, you know, and just fucking like, oh, can't fucking light it. That's the America I'm from. You know what I'm saying? And that's the idea of war you get when you're a kid growing up in America. But the truth is, once you get older and you mature, you realize that war is about strategy. War is, again, like I said, it's about attrition. It's not necessarily what big guns do I have to create a massive offense. It's, you know, what could I do to draw my enemy out, to give them a false sense of hope, right? Put them in my territory. And we're seeing that right here with Eddie Hearn as we speak. This is, whether you get it or not, fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant because it means nothing, really. It really does. It means nothing, this whole thing. Uh Not really, but it's a meaningful shot back. And that's what we're gonna basically break down. Yeah, Mark Wayne, thank you, Bruce. Yeah, that guy's a psycho too. The only member of the Senate without at least a bachelor's degree, a real Rhodes Scholar. Yo, Bruce roast, dog. He roast. Oh man, that's hilarious. All right, so I'm not gonna lie. I haven't seen this. Do y'all just want to react? You want to do a reaction to it real quick?
The grass was greener with the others who ended.
Hold on, wait. What the fuck, bro? Why you? This is why I don't like.
It's that time of the week again. It's that time of the week again.
Okay, so I have not watched this. So we're gonna watch this first, and then we'll talk about, you know, Eddie. Give me 1 second. All right, my bad. Hold up, let me just see this thing right quick. Oh, y'all didn't know it was baseball season yet? World Baseball Classic starting already. We're gonna be live covering it on on Saturday, along with the UFC. We'll be live for as well. Appreciate you, Bruce. Yeah. Hey, Bruce, if you want to come on, man, just say the word. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put the link up. But only Bruce can use it. Anybody else, y'all can't. Y'all can't. I'm this now's not the time for anybody else but Bruce. If Bruce wants to come on. But anyway, we are just finishing up a post. Dude. All right. Okay, so we are going to, I guess, fucking react to this bullshit. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, don't worry about it, Bruce. Don't worry about it. It was just if you were, able to. No biggie. But anyway, the point I was going to say is that we're going to try our very best to be unbiased here. Okay, we're going to listen to this fairly. Okay, now I know that the narrative and on this show, I'm going to take blame because honestly, it's hard to tell y'all, hey, I'm going to come at this partial when I've obviously been giving a very, I don't even think it's biased. I think it's just honest. I mean, I've been honest. I think I've been honest. I think the truth is Oscar De La Hoya, when he first started Golden Boy, represented a clean slate for potential clean slate for boxing promoters and also displayed a sense of empathy that I don't know for sure can ever exist between promoters that have fought and promoters that haven't, as it relates to their relationship with their fighters, right? The thing is this though, I also understand the business aspect of this, right? As a fan, as a journalist, I just want the best fight, right? But as a longtime fan and as a journalist with a decade in the game, I understand Oscar De La Hoya's points. I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm not saying that I believe that they're right or wrong or more valuable than Verge's points. I'm just saying that if my financial future was aligned with Golden Boy, then absolutely Verge and Boots cannot happen without our input. Firstly, and again, if I'm playing Golden Boy lawyer, firstly, the fight is only big because of Golden Boy Promotions. And again, I know that way that sounds. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm being the lawyer for Golden Boy just for a second. We made this fight. Verge is the A side, no matter what some people that'll never understand the sport of boxing very well will tell you. There is absolute truth behind the idea that he's the A side. Also, let's have a guess of, who do you think makes more money? Verge and Boots in Philly or Verge and Boots at Cowboy Stadium or even the Star? It's not even close. Like, who we kidding? And by the way, for all the Verge doesn't draw in Dallas the way that, like it's not, he's not Roddy Piper in Portland is, so to speak, right? If you understand that reference. And that's okay because we've never really seen him with a dance partner like this. But I promise you, the Mexican versus the Black American, the Mexican American versus the Black American is exactly the fucking fight that sells out Dallas. All right. I'm from Texas. I'm from South Texas, but I've been all over, right? I covered fights in El Paso. I've covered fights at the Star in Dallas. I've covered fights in Fort Worth. I've covered fights in Laredo, in the Valley, in San Antonio, in Houston. In fact, I have a horror story about one of the first fights I covered for HBO, Donaire and Arce. And I took a bus while I was working for the Boxing Voice, thinking he was giving me gas. He was giving me money to get there, thinking, oh, I'm going to save money. It was the worst experience of my journalistic career. We live and we learn. That's right. I took a bus to Houston to cover Donaire Arce. Luckily, an editor that I used to work for was living in Houston and was making really good money in publishing. And, he had a place for me and, he drove me around and it was cool. But anyway, the point I'm making is I don't even know why I even brought that up anymore, but there is reason to listen to De La Hoya's side. And that's what we're going to do right now. All right. Let's prepare. Oscars. Okay, wait. Okay, before we start, as we're going to do our best to be partial, unbiased, right? Or impartial, I meant to say. I kept saying partial. But come on, guys. That face right there, that's too intense for a Thursday afternoon. You'd agree with me, right? I'm not suggesting that anything other than the fact that for me, like just as soon as I saw his face and I'm getting ready to click, I'm like, whoa, let's take a step back for a moment. All right. It's like, when you're like sniffing glue in the bathroom and you're just like, whoa, let's wait just a second and just say, hey, is this a good decision? That's the feeling I had. I've never done glue in the bathroom, but this is the face of a guy that that was fucked up. I should have said that. Oh God. Why do you guys suck dick so hard on social media? Angelo Maldonado. Now, I see other stuff here, right? So probably somebody in boxing, a real champ, a real humble individual who even when he's been disrespected and underappreciated still wants the best for you. You could hate this man all you want. For what reasons, I have no clue, but nothing but respect for Oscar from me and my familia. Angelo Maldonado Jr., that is next level glazing, brother. Next level glazing. Here's the thing. I think if you have kids or if grandkids are in your custody, they should be taken from you right now. That is a wild thing for a grown man to post. And I'm telling you right now that any grown man that posts that kind of undying support for another man that isn't their partner in life, that right there is like weird. That's weirdo energy, right? And I don't mean like just partner, right? Like partners, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Supermax, Matt, these are my, friends, my partners. Like I feel like extended cousins, family type shit, right? So I could glaze them on their social media, right? Or I could say something like, beautiful fam or something like that. That ain't weird. That's just me and my close people. If Angelo and Oscar are close, then I'm gonna fall back. My bad, champ. I didn't know he saved you from that well. I didn't know that. I didn't know Lassie went and grabbed him, and that's how you're here today.
And time for the only segment in boxing that gives you the facts and makes you laugh. It's Clapback Thursday.
It doesn't make us laugh as much as it makes us cringe. And then we laugh after the cringe is worn off.
There won't be.
He can't even. Oh my God, Oscar. Oscar. Mijo. ¿Qué pasa, Sato? What are you doing here, champ? You're clapping off beat like a coked out maniac. Come on, that doesn't
Many
help your
laughs
case.
this week because I never think it's funny when a fighter tries to fuck me over. But the verdict is in, and Virgil Ortiz is.
I'll say this. You know what would have been fire right there? Here's the thing. You want to be a real entertainer, self-deprecating humor. That's where it's at. I'm sorry to tell you. So right there where he would have said, if you want to make this funny, Oscar, right? Because you're saying you want this to be like factually a news segment, which obviously that's bullshit. But then you also want it to be entertaining, which obviously that's clear you do want it to be. Right there, you said, because it's never funny when fighters try fucking me over. Boom, put a picture of you in the fucking lingerie. Just, the one where he's like this. That one. I'm not going to do the whole thing. All right, chill, bro. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm not gonna do it. You thought I was gonna do it, bro. You thought I was gonna do it. You knew what picture I was talking about, though, right? That's weird on you. You shouldn't. If I bring it up, you should be like, I don't even know what picture you're talking about. But you knew exactly what. As soon as I did this, as soon as I started to put the chin to the shoulder. By the way, I'm working on my defense. I don't know what y'all thought I was trying to do. What picture have you seen? No, I'm playing. But this is the thing, right? Like, let's be funny and don't take yourself so serious and like lean into the jokes about you. You know what I mean? And he's done it before. That's what I'm saying. Like, credit to this dude. He's done it before. Oscar's next level with this shit. He understands.
His master plan to break his contract with Golden Boy Promotions was shot down by a federal judge in Nevada. I know many of you have been waiting for the details regarding.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true. That's already false. The injunction prevents him from working with third parties and forces arbitration. It's not saying that Verge has nowhere to go or has no other choice but to fight. That's not even remotely true. They didn't uphold the contract as much as they upheld Oscar's right to not have that fight take place without him, as a mediation or arbitration rather takes place. So already you're kind of trumping the facts, but whatever.
All this bullshit. So it's time to finally give you the facts. Here's the timeline of how it all went down. I hadn't heard from Virgil Ortiz since his fight back in November, where he openly praised me.
That right there, right? He openly praised. Okay, why are you adding that? Like, that's your evidence is that he said something nice about his promoter. Let me tell you, I've talked to fighters who thanked Al Heyman after every single fight that only actually ever saw that guy like face to face like 6 times in their whole life. All right. So, I'm not saying he wasn't active in calling them. And, what I'm saying? All I'm saying is they weren't bros and shit, but whatever. Fuck it.
For being a great guy and a great promoter.
He is probably one of the most successful promoters in the history of the sport. And he has always been done right by.
That can be true while also you're not happy. And like, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, this isn't evidence to help you. You're saying, hey, look, propaganda before. That's like all you're saying. Because the thing is yes, you are one of the most successful promoters in the history of the sport. I mean, here's the thing. I'll go even a step further. You're one of the most successful, like, franchise owners in the history of sports. I mean, what you were able to do with that company that was literally didn't exist and bring it to the forefront and compete with companies that had been established for decades, promoters that had worked with Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali and Frazier and Foreman and Bo and Sugar Ray and all these historic names and these historic foundational promotions. Oscar De La Hoya And his ragtag, well, they weren't ragtag. These were very well educated and in some ways very wealthy. But he came and he put this company together and he, built it into not just a worthy competitor, but you could argue at any given moment the premier promoter in boxing. Handling the Floyd Mayweather fights, and by the way, they were also getting a piece of the Manny Pacquiao action, even when you didn't see the Golden Boy banner, even when it was Top Rank promotion and Top Ranks, everything. They were still getting a piece of it, right? So Golden Boy has every reason, and Oscar has every reason to be thought of in high regard. That doesn't excuse you from further behavior that may or may not be, audaciously bad, or work in your favor, like screwing someone over or whatever, right? Or working against a fighter's best intentions. I guess, and really that's like the whole controversy here, right? If there are people that actually exist, like Angelo Maldonado Jr., who like to have, tissue paper around when Oscar De La Hoya's name comes up, if guys like that exist and are going to like back the corner of Oscar, and we're going to have like a nuanced discussion about this, then that nuanced discussion has to surround the idea of what Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya deserve in terms of bringing Verge this far to the dance. At the same time, what is any of that worth, any of it that you've put into it, if at certain point in his career and in your company's legacy, the paths cross and the best thing for Verge doesn't necessarily line up with the best thing for Golden Boy? What happens when that becomes a thing? Because those things happen. It's easy to be Verge and pissed and sound like this 1 minute and pissed the other. It's easy. You know why? Because the same reason you can see Selena chilling with the fucking woman who shot her. They were fucking friends. What are you saying? That Verge should have had a crystal ball in this moment? Oh, look, I'm not guilty. Verge didn't know I was fucking him. Like, and I'm not saying he was. I'm not saying Oscar was fucking him. That's not what I meant. I just meant in Verge's mind, obviously, that's got to be the way he sees it. So all I'm saying is that you can be Major League Baseball, the institution of baseball, right? Worldwide. And then at some point you have a major scandal with steroids, and then the institution is rocked. And then you start to wonder, well, what's that, and then you say, hey, wait, wasn't that foundation bound, made on segregation? Didn't they just keep a lot of the best black and what's the word? Caribbean, that's the word I was thinking of, players out so that, it was less competitive? Look, all I'm saying is that at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm not going to say that anymore. Never mind. I'm just going to.
I mean, I have nothing bad to say about him. I mean, he's gone out of his way. He texts me all the time. He's called me, he's FaceTimed me on Christmas.
And yet, Oscar, in his own words, says, I hadn't seen or heard from Verge since the fucking fight. That's weird. That's weird. Let me tell you, if I was getting roughly, let's just say 10%, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying, let's just say, if I was getting 10% of somebody's entire fight career, I'll probably send them a ham at the very least for sure on Christmas. But yeah, I think I would stop by time to time. I think I would. I can't imagine what else I'd be doing when, the fight schedule of the promoter, it's a lot lighter than it used to be, right? This you could argue that last couple years it's been a lot lighter. I think there's been room to, visit the people keeping the lights on. That's just me. That's just the way I think. And maybe that's why I don't have a successful company. Maybe that's why I'm not a billionaire, because I love the people that love me, and I respect them, and I check on them, and I appreciate them. And I try to do things to make sure that they appreciate me. You know, maybe you have to pick between being a millionaire CEO, badass, living the life like Oscar, and content and being content. Maybe you have to pick that, because Oscar doesn't seem content in any of this shit at all.
He does his job.
By the way, that's not like a fucking screaming endorsement. He does his job. You know who else does their job, Oscar? Everybody in the fucking world. All right, you're not fucking special because you do your job.
I mean, everything that he's
Also, what is your job? Because, oh man, if he's watching, he's gonna be so mad. But what is your job if you could be in and out of rehab for a year and the fucking company still works without you? I'm just fucking saying, bro. I'm just fucking saying. That didn't work. Fuck.
he's done, I think that he's done with good intentions with me, and I can't say anything bad about the guy.
So everything was terrific, right? And his father even sent me this message over the holidays.
This is bitch made right here. Hey, I said I was gonna be partial, right? All right. I'm gonna be absolutely unbiased. I would say this to my father. Listen to me right now, right? I'm gonna tell y'all this. Out of everybody in my life, I respect my dad the most, right? Now that wasn't true when I was a kid, right? See, when you're a kid, like, and your dad's your best, or not your best friend, he's like your superhero, right? That was never me, because I watched boxing and MMA or wrestling and MMA, right? So like I looked at my dad, I'm like, you ain't fucking Bret Hart. Sit your ass down. You ain't nobody's hero. You can't even do the sharpshooter, right? Like you ain't never put no badass pink glasses on my head before. You ain't nobody's dad. And you know, when you're immature and young, that's how you think, right? But today I look at everything my dad taught me, right? Like if y'all were on the show earlier this week, y'all know something shit went down with my mother-in-law, and I had to help out, or I had to provide support, right? And that was me following my dad's lead, because he treated my grandma, his mother-in-law, my mom's mom, like his own. You know what I mean? He would bend over backwards for her. So it was like I follow that lead. You know what I'm saying? If you made it to this point in your life at like my age and your dad could be your hero, I think that's a success. That's a check mark. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not talking shit. So many people think it's like a right wing shit, left wing shit with me. It's really not, right? It's about right and wrong to me. And what I see is like, damn, look at this dude like Elon, right? Like space, and I love space, and I love physics, and I love all that, and I see him do this shit, and I think the environment's worth protecting, and what he's done with the advancements of, you know, cars that protect our, you know, carbon imprint and things like that. But then I look and I'm like, damn, what one of his kids even love him? And I'm not being a hater. I'm just looking at like, what kind of life is that? Like, I don't know if that's a good life or not. I don't know. I don't know if you want to be on the forefront of everything, but then be too busy to have that shit, right? I love my dad. I respect my dad. I would call my dad a straight bitch to his fucking face. I would say, you fat cheek motherfucker, I should knock your ass out for doing this bullshit. Bro, when you show people's texts, I don't give a shit what they say. If you don't have permission to show people's texts, never. That's a bitch move. Let me tell you right now, if you're Oscar de la Hoya's age and you don't know the rules, them's the rules. You show text, you bitch made. That's it. That's done. Why don't you go and think about every single person you know that's ever posted text like this? And you're going to start to run up a list of bitch made motherfuckers. I'm just being honest. I'm not mad about this. This don't make me mad. What upsets me is that other people don't call foul and be like, nope, that's it. Pocket checked. Done. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine you got a broski and he's rich and y'all been chilling for years and he takes care of the fam and he takes y'all to Astros games and, you know what I'm saying, Disney and he gave your, kid 5,000 for their graduation, whatever the fuck, right? And then like you wake up the next day and you're like, oh shit, my boy's on the Epstein list. Yikes. Oh, he's not even on the money part of, oh, he's on the island part of the Epstein. He's on the list with RFK, like inside the fucking thing, like that type shit, right? Like, wait, my boy was trying to revitalize a pedophile's career, like Steve Bannon type shit. And then we'll be like, oh man, I can't fuck with that guy. And not only that, now I'm thinking, oh my God, he's been in front of my kids. And now it's on some Cain Velasquez shit. You feel me? I say that to say this. It's about having your own code, I think, and where you stand the line and where you don't. And I think that a lot of us have realized that the top of the top money people have such an infatuation with money that even if they themselves are not pedophiles, they will absolutely be cool with pedophiles. They do not care what you do behind closed doors as long as you can help advance their careers outside of them. And again, I say all that to say, when somebody shows you a bitch made character flaw and you love them and accept them, that's a friendship. When somebody you don't know or you barely fuck with or through boxing, right, or business shows you that kind of character flaw and you still fuck with them, then that becomes a character flaw in you. Because let me tell you right now, you can never be the guy that watches everything 24/7. Elon Musk wouldn't be shit without probably like a dozen different people doing the menial tasks that absolutely matter from day to day, right? And I say that to say that ultimately we are who we surround ourselves with. So maybe you're not a pedophile, but you sure as fuck voted for him and seem cool with it. And maybe you're not a giant old man boomer piece of shit, but you seem to be cool with this one for some reason.
Then, out of nowhere, Virgil served us with a lawsuit in January to get out of his contract. So what's behind this lawsuit? The worst manager in boxing, Rick Meridian.
Meridian. I kept saying Meridian. But wait, why am I assuming this cokehead knows how to say it better than me? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. He's doing the work. I don't know. Is he though? That's the problem right now. It's like I want to root for Oscar De La Hoya. First of all, La Raza. Second of all, like I understand addiction at a personal level. You know what I'm saying? Like I know what addiction is. Or I mean, I don't know what it is, obviously, but I know what it can look like. I know how it can hurt. I know what it can do. I know that it's a force that eats up everyone. So when you look at an addict and you're talking shit about this one person, you're talking shit about the kids they hurt. You're talking shit about the wives or the husbands they put the hell through. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about the parents they stole from. That's who you're talking shit. So I'm not trying to talk shit. I shouldn't be talking shit. And I don't mean that because obviously I have no reasons or no evidence to be on the contrary, right? All I know is this isn't, you know what I'm saying? This isn't normal behavior. That's just, I think, the bottom line, right? Like if you're a owner of a big ass company, like imagine like this was Nike.com or like Nike, right? And this is the owner of Nike right now that we're hearing. Like, how many of y'all are going to invest in Nike? How many of y'all are going to be like, oh my God, I can't wait to invest in Apple? Did you see the CEO did that really cracked out thing on the smartphone? Like, what? No, nobody's going to do that. Nobody wants to purchase stocks into the company of the guy who seems like he's operating the bitch like a Willy Wonka factory. Like, nobody wants that. And it's like the moment you could talk about this, you could not wait to go and put one of these fucking videos up, right? And like, here's the other part. You see, Oscar comes from like a sport with real people, right? But I wonder if he's ever been. If when's the last time he's been around like real people, right? Like, I'll never change in a million years. I swear to God, somebody could give me $1 million on Cash App right now, right? Which no, you can't, because I've just realized I still haven't put the Cash App thing on. But somebody could do that. I'm not changing. You know why? Because the next day I'm still working for Abe and Fights ATW. That shit don't change. I don't do that shit for the money. Not only for the money. You know what I'm saying? That's for the love, right? Abe also, you know how Abe also pays me? He allows me the creative freedom to do things, right? And you can work in this game as long as I have, with the credentials I have, by the way, and you'll never get that shit. Never. Only guys like Steve Kim get that shit. Only, excuse me, only the top elite writers get that type shit, right? And you know, I sometimes think about that shit, because it's like I went through this game and I worked for some hustlers, bro. And I don't mean that in a good way. I mean people that hustled the writers and the editors. I put up through a lot of shit, so I feel like I deserve a good boss like Abe, and I deserved a good boss like Mike Woods too. I deserve them. I'm not scared to say it, or not scared, but you know, God's good.
Demanded that Virgil get paid triple what we're contractually obligated to pay Virgil for the Boots fight. We were ready to make the fight, and I was lobbying to get him the most money possible. But Rick, being the selfish asshole he is, tried to line his own pockets and felt the grass was greener with the others who interfered on the other side. And now, thanks to his poor advice, Virgil's sidelined, and he's headed to waste more money and time.
I hate that he's saying that like as if there's no fucking like if that's not. Oh shit, Matt, my bad, champ. And Chizzy. That's how I'm gonna start saying Matt whenever he comes on. I'm gonna say Chizzy. That stands for champ. You know what you can be in and out of rehab and the company still be successful? John Moxley. Exactly. Exactly. The John Moxley approach. Hey, bro, Max Kellerman said it. All right. So if somehow Oscar were to hear this and be like super pissed, I didn't fucking say it. Max Kellerman said it. Max Kellerman knew y'all and Richard. Max Kellerman was able to do two things. See, I didn't work in this game until like 2 years before the PBC Golden Boy split, right? Like I didn't actually work in this game until 2 years before that. So I ended up, by the way, the Golden Boy thing was hard for my career. And I don't mean that to sound like selfish. Obviously, it mattered way more to Golden Boy and PBC and that, but I had a shit ton of fucking contacts inside Golden Boy. What? Are you kidding? Bro, I'm just going to say Leha Bata, and I'm going to chill at that. I'm going to chill at that. I'm going to say Leha Bata, and if you know, then you know. I was fucking right with information. What? Yo, I broke more stories in that 4 or 5 month period than ever before in my career, right? I had fight. Bro, listen to me. I knew fights that were fucking still on the table, bro. And when PBC and Golden Boy split, yeah, that was it, bro. The door shut. Mario wanted to be the kid that yelled Brett in the old promo video when he grew up. Bro, you know let me tell you how bad I hated that kid. All right? I would see that kid and he would be like, Brett. And I'd be like, oh, man, I swear to God, if I was there, I'd fucking walk up and just steal that fucking little bitch and steal them glasses and run off. And at the end of the day, Brett would just be like, Americans fucking savages. And then he would just be cool with it, you know? But fuck yeah, fuck that kid. Yo, I feel like it's fucked up. You don't think I should have been that kid already, like off the jump. You should be mad for me, champ. Mario, check the group chat. Oh, okay. Ooh, baby, do you? Yo, wait. I was about to show his stress. I talk shit about showing people's text messages for 10 minutes, and I was just about to fucking show everybody the group chat, bro. Oh man, I ain't shit, bro. Hey, but here's the thing: I don't got kids. Who am I fucking up? You got kids. If you got kids and you're fucked up, you're fucking up everybody else. At least I don't got kids. I could be a piece of shit because nobody else is gonna be a piece of shit behind me. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm a piece of shit, but I'm just saying I could be a giant piece of shit. And what you gonna do about it? Yo, y'all want to go IRL with me to the golf course? Anybody? Here's the thing. If I don't get more than 5 responses in the 5 group chats, literally it's that averages out to 1 response per group chat, then I'm not taking y'all with me. But if y'all want to go with me, then I need to hear from y'all right now that y'all want to go with me IRL to work on my golf swing for about an hour. Go meet up with the cuzzo. Maybe have a smoke on the way. I think I could definitely beat Oscar at golf. I know he plays, but he just seems too tense for the game. Just a look at his face. Right? Like if God came down tonight and said, you know, Mario, I'm gonna tell you one truth. I'm gonna tell you one thing that's fact. What do you want to know? But it has to be about us. It can only be about Oscar. I'm gonna say, how much surgery has Oscar De La Hoya have? And then if God said this to me, I swear to God, I wouldn't be surprised. I swear to God, I wouldn't. If God said this to me, if he said, okay, I'm gonna tell you about Oscar's face and the plastic surgery. Now, you're not going to believe me. You're not going to believe me when I tell you he's had no plastic surgery. It's all cortisone from anxiety. It's all cortisone from anxiety and stress and probably drugs. Yes. That's just facts. That's just facts. You can go to WebMD and you can ask yourself, you can ask that. You can ask ChatGPT. Go ahead. Although they're working with the War Department now, so I don't know if you want. But 300,000 down on ChatGPT subscriptions. Turns out people don't like warmongers. All right. What do you think about Ricky Sosa TNA debut tonight? I don't think that's going to go very well. In fact, I think they should use it. Here's the thing, right? It feels like the TV show is like comical. Like, okay, let's see how we can make everything comedy now, right? Like, or you know what it is? TNA, the TV, the weekly TV is a cheese grater, right? Or a carrot grater. And quality TNA wrestling is the carrot, and you put it in the TNA comedy grater, and then you grate it, and what comes out is weekly TV. And I say that to say I can't imagine a less serious start to a character that they need a serious impact from. Matt said, I feel like that's one guy that for sure shouldn't went to AEW first. Yeah, I will say this. I think AEW's gotten enough signings at this point. But let's see.
I'm in mediation, and that could last years. Virgil, I still want to believe you're a good guy, and you received the worst advice on the planet. We always did right by you, treated you with respect. Remember when we were in Texas, and I sent President Eric Gomez to sit with you while you and your father cried about pulling out of the fight the week of. And this was the second time this happened. And still, we believed in you. I generously gave you $200,000. Did you forget about that? These are the facts, folks. Oh, and we had to constantly deal with your hothead father, who couldn't be less gracious or appreciative. And if you don't believe me, Let me show you something, everybody. Here's a clip of the night before Virgil's last fight in November 2025, where his father got into a fist fight with a heckler, and my Golden Boy employees had to break it up while he was rolling around the floor of the hotel lobby shirtless. I mean, of course, my team was kind enough to protect you, Virgil, and begged the man your father assaulted not to press charges. Jesus Christ, this is the shit I have to deal with. And you're still this ungrateful? I protected you like family, and you turn your back on me? Virgil, I know the lies Rick is telling you and how deep you are in this bullshit. You're gonna keep racking up the legal bills and burning money. Look, what Rick didn't tell you is that you could potentially stay on the shelf for years, just like Mikey Garcia did. And that's the way it's heading legally. The judge already ruled against you. But it isn't too late to fix this. From one fighter to another, you have to change the team around you. They're dragging you down, and we all see it from the outside. If you don't change your team, it's going to be another sad ending for another potential star in boxing. Even though you tried to screw me over, I still want what's best for all my fighters, and I always will. So remember, kids, you're never a hater if you only speak the facts.
God, that was so uncoordinated. Just the most uncoordinated claps you will ever hear from a person with that kind of background in music. The guy used to make professional music. Can't keep a beat. Go figure. All right, let me see. Yeah, we'll dissect that last part real quick. It's propaganda. That's what it is. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, look, is it? I'm not saying anything he said isn't true. Here's one part of propaganda, right? It's not generous if you bring it up, right? Generosity is when you can give somebody something and literally like expect nothing in return, not your loyalty. See, that's what I'm saying. Like when you bring up that 200,000, what you're actually saying, what we're hearing you say is, hey, I thought I bought your loyalty with that thing. Did you forget the 200? Because wasn't that for your loyalty? Why else did I give you that? What was that for? Yeah, I didn't owe you that money. Did you fight a fight I don't remember? Why do you think I gave you that money? Well, I don't understand. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying right there. It's like, I gave you $200,000. Do you remember that? It was very generous of me. That line translates into, hey, that $200,000, that wasn't generosity, bitch. I bought your loyalty. And the fact that you're reneging, you're going to have to give back that 200,000 now, because that was for loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's not asking for $200,000 back, obviously. He's saying, I'm getting that shit somehow, some way else. Either I'm going to keep you on the shelf, because that was a threat, by the way. That was a threat, by the way. You see, here's the problem with Oscar's entire thing right there. Okay. This is the problem with Oscar's entire little shtick right there. He's talking from a POV as though he isn't in control partially of the situation. He's talking like as if like they're headed, like if Verge is headed towards a waterfall and he's on a raft and the current's too strong and they can see it coming, a couple 100 yards down, but you can't do anything about it. That's not where the case. Oscar, you have very much control of what you're willing to take and not take. What you're saying is Golden Boy must survive. That's never going to be off the table. And because of that, we will burn your career to the ground like they attempted Mikey Garcia, and you can't do anything about it. And Rick never told you that part, did he? Rick never told you those horror stories of Mikey Garcia. And that's why it's important to do the history, folks. That's why it's important, because, well, I mean, not for like us regular people, but for the kids out there who box, right? It's important to learn the history so that we do not repeat it. You heard that one before? It's true. So De La Hoya talks as though, this whole situation can't be avoided, or, and really it's only meant to scare and to intimidate Verge into believing, hey, I don't have um a lot of I don't have a lot of chips on my side of the table, right? Yes, I don't have to fight, but that does more damage to my career. However, this is an interesting situation, because unlike the Mikey Garcia situation, in which Top Rank had a healthy relationship with the network and a contract, this is a situation where, what does De La Hoya do with one less fight on the table? We're hearing rumors of Haney and Rolly, right? We're hearing rumors of that. And while Golden Boy may control Ryan Garcia, who's one half of what many pundits and many colleagues believe is the richest fight in the sport, in Haney and Ryan Garcia too, they don't control his outright promotion. If you'll recall, this was the last fight on Ryan Garcia's contract, promotional contract with Golden Boy, in which Golden Boy was the sole promoter. The fights after this, I believe it's 2 for sure. I could be wrong on that. But however many it is, Ryan is now a active and co-contributing promoter. His promotional company, Ryan, I don't even know what the fuck, probably King Ryan, some bullshit, but he now has promotional rights to his next few fights. And I don't know what that affords him really long run, but it's got to be, it's got to be something, I guess. Shout out to Ema and Dre in the chat. Shout out to Christians, Christix. I don't know how to say that, but appreciate the follow, champ. Very, very appreciative. Just a reminder, we will be live this weekend, IRL chat, real time. I'm gonna definitely do Twitch and X, maybe IG, maybe not. TikTok for sure as well. But I don't think we're gonna do YouTube on Saturday. So if you are not followed on @InfightingFX on YouTube, Twitch, X, IG, TikTok, do so, because you want to know when we go live on the other things. It's not that I don't want to go live on YouTube. It's just like YouTube is definitely not they're like ready to they got some stuff to attend to, I think. Let me see. Okay, so the Jai Appetai fight and Brandon Glanton is this weekend, so we'll be live for that as well. And then other than that, it's the UFC. But we'll also be live for the men's World Baseball Classic, Team USA. Yeah. We'll be live for that on Saturday. So, final thoughts here on the Eddie Hearn situation. Um, mm, no, I don't think so. Uh, I, you're not the first person to say that. But I didn't know that that was an issue. Somebody told me that a while back. Um, no, but you could pull it up if you want, or I mean, you could send it to the chat if you want. I could put it on. Yeah, no, I don't know. My bad. Yeah, I saw it now. I mean, I see it now. It's just, but that was the same thing he said yesterday, or it was from yesterday. That wasn't today. The Verge Ortiz, right? It says, although the judge didn't see it our way and the fight is blocked for now, my team and I will be moving on to arbitration and to the court appeal. My time with Golden Boy is done. I am confident that that my right that my right to move on to other opportunities will be upheld. As always, I'm in the gym staying ready. Any 154-pound champion should do the same. It's only a matter of time. Yeah, that was what he said yesterday. That wasn't new, but appreciate it anyway. All right, so the story as it relates to Eddie Hearn and boxing's Tom Aspinall. Let's go ahead and share this. So we'll look at the UFC story first. I don't know why I did that. That's weird. All right, cool. All right. So UFC champ Aspinall inks business deal with boxing promoter Hearn. UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has signed with Eddie Hearn's newly established Matchroom talent agency. The signing and the establishment of Matchroom's new agency was announced on Thursday in a huge move for both Aspinall and the British promoter. Hearn, who is the chairman of Matchroom Boxing and has guided the careers of former two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua and two-time undisputed women's champion Katie Taylor, will now manage and advise Aspinall in his first move into MMA. The UFC champion had teased an announcement on social media on Thursday with the caption "Back to business." Matchroom will host a news conference in London on Friday. Hearn said he believes the moves is an ideal next step for both him and Matchroom and signing. Oh, you bet he is. It has become a guided principle to seek out people who are humbled by but heroic in equal measure. Their journey is our journey, their triumph, our purpose, Hearn said. UFC world champion Tom Aspinall is the perfect embodiment of that, and he is the ideal inaugural member of our team. And then this was the post that he had. Welcome to the UFC, or welcome to the team, UFC heavyweight champ, Tom Aspinall. Time to get what's yours. And then he has a crown. And then it says Matchroom Talent Agency skyrockets. Eddie Hearn has built. Oh, wait, my bad. Okay. The move comes The move comes amid a growing rivalry between Hearn and UFC boss Dana White, who is now also leading Zuffa Boxing. The two promoters have gone back and forth in the media in recent weeks, with White landing a significant blow by signing British fighter Conor Benn from Hearn, who Matchroom had hoped would be their biggest star in the coming years. Meanwhile, Aspinall, who remains under the fighting contract with UFC, hasn't fought since he defended his title in October against Cyril. The fight was stopped. Wait, where did I leave off? Oh, meanwhile, Aspinall, who remains under fighting contract, my bad, with the UFC, hasn't fought since the fight with Cyril. The fight was stopped when Aspinall was poked in the eye on multiple occasions. He had since undergone surgery. He now opted to have Hearn help guide his next moves. I'm really excited to welcome Eddie Hearn and the Matchroom Sport Group in a commercial and advisory role, and to become the first athlete to join a new Matchroom talent agency, Aspinall said. Eddie has built one of the biggest brands in sport and understands how to take athletes to the next level, both inside and outside of competition. And that's the one thing Eddie, or I'm not going to say the one thing, but that's one aspect. The champ is in the building. But that's one of the other aspects here that Tom really has to his credit. Eddie has to his credit is he didn't just make Anthony Joshua like this big sports name. Anthony Joshua represents like a brand in sports, right? And it's like sleek, and it's like, smooth and kind of like sophisticated, right? It's like expensive watches that don't make you stand out like a douche. It's like that type shit. The UK, like London guy, you know what I mean? And that's really counts, right? It might not be the guy you want to have a beer with, but it's certainly the guy that could fucking buy the beer company. So, you know what I mean? Like makes people seem like big time. What's going on, Matt, the champ?
Yo, what up? You got me?
You sound great, man.
Let's do it.
Hey, it's baseball season. I know it's baseball season. You ready for that for the Americans on Saturday?
Dude, yeah, absolutely. I've been catching some of where they take on the spring training teams. They look pretty good. Look really good.
Yeah. Dude, you see the umpire that had 7 of his calls taken back?
I wanted to ask you that when we talked about that on my show.
Dude.
Do you think they're doing it on purpose just to test it out?
No,
that seems like way too many mistakes.
Here's the thing. That's the reason I don't. Because you have that's a humiliation ritual then. Like if they're saying, hey, we're going to send you out there because we really need to prove this thing's value. And I've heard, that kind of argument. And I would just say the only reason I couldn't believe that is I could never sacrifice my name as an umpire like that. Like I knew what it felt like to have like people think highly of my umpiring skills. And I'll be honest, like it felt good to have like the head of Tasso in Texas for high school and college umpires say, hey, this is like the rookie of the year guy here. Like that shit felt good. You know what I mean? I would fucking rather get my money cut than have my name be out there associated with 7 fucking overturns, bro.
But that's what I'm saying, though, bro.
You gotta cut that guy after that.
In spring ball, in general, there's been a ton. There's been like since they've started a couple weeks ago, there's been a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like, is it like, are they testing the system? Are they testing the call of the catcher? Are they generally getting these wrong? Because some of these are like too like obvious. Like I understand you can dictate your own ball and your own strike, but some of these in the zone that they're in are like, all right, come on. He's like, they're just seeing if his shit works.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you're so right. You're so right. I think you nailed it. It's weird. Like the numbers just don't add up. But
yeah,
Matt, tell us, what do you think of this happy couple on the screen? Do you think that they're that the sparks in their eyes for each other look eternal? Is this a relationship that we could see lasting? What do you think of this new bromance?
I think anything can be done motivated by spite. For sure. Just for the simple spite of it, he did this. And we talked about this the other day. This continues to essentially sew everything together on what's going to happen here soon. If we get a White House card announcement, like we said, with Pereira and Jones, or Pereira and another top heavyweight for the full belt, Aspinall's gone. Because hopefully that means he got his request to be released if he vacates his title for the circumstance. Or let's say even if they just work out a buyout to get him out of that situation. This is one of the best moves he could possibly make too, because Eddie Hearn is a hell of a promoter. Aspinall's father has said they wanted to go into boxing anyway. But like I said, there's also an avenue of, hey, we've done business with Jake Paul. We can get you an MMA fight somewhere with somebody. With an Ngannou, a boxing fight with Ngannou. You both make hella money. You imagine the last two legit heavyweight champions fighting in boxing? How much money that would generate for just those two guys, Ngannou and Aspinall?
Huge. Oh, it would be absolutely huge. And here's the thing, Matt. I don't know if this is fair or not, but it almost to me seems like worth the whole effort just to have his name in the papers together.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you had a moment last week or whatever it was when Conor Ben signed to Zuffa, right? And it took the entire week news cycle, right? Because you kept seeing it everywhere, right? They put it on Raw, Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown. UFC featured it on their fight night, you know, and Conor Ben was like the toast of the town. And now, even though this doesn't represent a shift in promotion or who he's fighting for, this could actually be even a bigger problem, because now you have that Al Heyman type role. You know what I mean? That role where, no, you're not the promoter, so you don't have to fight for them as a promoter. So you can stick up the promoter, you know what I mean, in an attempt to secure really your own rights too, your own bag as well. But we've seen this with Al Heyman. We've seen this before. And Zuffa and UFC and Dana White have very little understanding of how the Al Heyman effect works. Not to say that they don't, but specifically in boxing as it relates to that, because the Al Heyman job of advisor or, you know, whatever, isn't like that exists in every genre of everything, politics, music, you know what I mean? And so to have somebody now actively working against your interests in Dana White, because if Dana White interests in Tom and Aspinall are clear enough, they are that is our heavyweight. He represents a major part of our heavyweight legacy at this point, and he's a vital part of our future. Okay. But now you got the op in his corner. Matt, did Eddie pull a check? Not a checkmate, but is this a check move? How valuable was this get back to you?
I mean, on the face of it, just in the headline, it's a 10 out of 10, right? Now, granted, this is just a agent deal, right? From the breakdown of it, essentially they're just gonna do negotiations and things for him. This isn't like a legit like promoter deal.
Yeah. This is like advisory and commercial like type stuff, right? So like kind of the everything that Eddie did for AJ or helped to secure for AJ, like now he's doing that under the guise of this, you know, Matchroom agency, right? So this isn't the promotion. This is something else.
Yeah, this is just to help him negotiate, which is great also, because if he can get one of two things is possibly going to happen. Tom Aspinall is going to start getting paid a lot of money by the UFC or by somebody working with Matchroom. That's for sure. Because this, especially if Eddie Hearn has the same information on how they work, they can now help Aspinall negotiate against TKO in the UFC. So this could be one of the biggest cogs in the wheel that they're trying to do over there. I like it. Eddie Hearn, to me, he's smart for sure because this generated the noise. Because how many people do you think are just ripping the headline and thinking, "Oh, he's signed to Matchroom. He signed to Matchroom."
Hey, Matt, you know how I know a bunch of people are doing that? Because that's what the fuck I did. I fucking was like, bro, I saw this thing on my thing and pop up on my notifications. I swear to God, I was already hitting y'all up like Aspinall and Anthony Joshua, Aspinall and Naganu.
But I know, like, for sure,
O2 in the
you
summer.
compared to
Let's
others,
go.
You compared to others, though, I know you're gonna read the article at some point. You're gonna read the article. Everybody else is just gonna, bam, oh wow, look, he's shaking hands with Eddie Hearn. He's with Matchroom. He's going to boxing. Holy shit, right? No, and it was perfectly worded too. The UFC heavyweight champion signs to Matchroom. The best way to headline that for them. Great. But yeah, no, this is a good move, Eddie.
Hell yeah, this was a great move. And Mex said this. I'm gonna keep this dub as long as the narrative reigns true. Okay, because I'm not rooting for anybody's failure at all. I think that competition breeds a better version of boxing. And so I'm not rooting for anybody's failure. All I'm saying is if Zuffa and or Dana both fail or one fail, I'm giving Mex a credit. Mex said it from the very beginning. Mex said it before it was even a thing. He was like, I just don't think that Dana can navigate the waters of the upper echelon of prize fighting as it relates to boxing. And he might be right. And he might be right. And this is one of the first signs. You went after Conor Ben. You went after our future. You went after the guy that we were putting our hopes in as far as the legacy of the rest of our 2020 looks into the 2030s.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're coming after your head, your heavyweight champion, because if you are somebody in the combat sports that knows combat sports, then you know that the heavyweight division is the bread and butter. That is, without a healthy heavyweight division, a promotion does not thrive. And that is, I think, something we've seen over and over again. And we're seeing right now with UFC, Matt. We saw it with Top Rank before. We saw it with the Klitschko era, right? The heavyweight division all but died here in America. And now we're seeing it with the UFC, where the heavyweight division that was once the premier division for them, Brock Lesnar, right? Mark Coleman, Randy Couture. I mean, the list goes on and on. Cain Velasquez, the Ngannou brothers. The list goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And today, I wouldn't be surprised if a casual MMA or UFC fan couldn't name more than like one or two guys.
Yeah,
MMA heavyweight fighters.
And it's also too, they put their chips in the wrong people for their heavyweight division. They try to push a lot of people that didn't really get there, only to land on the same people they've been needing to compete across multiple weight divisions.
Ooh, well said.
Which is crazy to say because in boxing, like we see it all the time. We see people jump up and down one or two weight classes now, but like to do what to think about this, Mario, there's never been a 3-division UFC champion, and UFC's been around over 30 years. And nobody's won belts in 3 divisions. It's a rarity still to go 2 divisions for the whole roster, the entire timeline's roster. 2 divisions is crazy, but 3, yeah, it's wild because there's so many gaps. Remember that there's so many gaps from one weight class to the next. But I do believe this is going to be a problem for Dana for sure, because I also agreed that if Zuffa stayed in the prospect business, they would probably last a good little while. If they got as big as a Pro Box was projecting to do in terms of having the next tier names to fight, then they'd be fine. But the fact that they're trying to pull this shit with Fury and Conor Ben and sneak it as if it's one big nice Zuffa presentation, I mean, you're gonna see them. You're gonna see them react, bro. Every action has a reaction.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, champ. Now, let me ask you something real quick before I ask you about the De La Hoya stuff. I'm seeing a lot of this shit on my timeline, Matt. I want to know real quick what you think. just your, unbiased, unfiltered thoughts here. The ring has come under criticism as of the last several months or so. And it's gotten turned up more than ever. Okay. And that criticism stemmed at first from, Turkey buying the publication and making it such a big part of his, rebranding of his, and now it's like the ring's like a promotion, and it's like also a belt, and it's also a magazine. It's weird. It's very weird. Only in boxing can this happen.
Yep.
That said, though, the ring for so long was thought as, from boxing fans, as an institution of the, most unbiased boxing journalism. And the ring belt was this unpoliticized measuring stick that settled who the best was between number one and number two. It was uncomplicated with the politics of the sport and the corruption of the sport. Today, the ring is suffering from a optics crisis, I think. And a lot of longtime fans, educated fans that do more than read the title, as you talked about, are calling bullshit on the ring. And one of the big stories, Matt, that did this was the Queensberry rumors. It was rumored and reported by the ring that Queensberry was having financial issues. And the idea is that story was drummed up by Turkey and wanted it specifically put out because it would help with the negotiations. And, people think that he's trying to, pirate, take over that shit. So, I'm going to ask you, Matt, somebody who's been a combat sports fan for a long time, who probably owns a bunch of ring magazines that are worth like thousands of dollars somewhere in his aunt's fucking attic that he's never going to sell me. I want to ask you what your personal optics are for the ring right now. How do you see it?
I mean, it's certainly, since the purchase by Turkey Al-Sheikh, has developed its own viewpoint for sure and becoming what it is. But yet, like you said, somehow being just under the line of being called a promoter. And that's the crazy part to me, because the Ring Magazine and Turkey Al-Sheikh do a lot of promoter things that promoters do. So, and it's, even with the little beef between Eddie Hearn and Turkey Al-Sheikh, that was like, it was sent in, Turkey saying, "Come rest your chest on the head of Daddy," and he'll fucking, it's wild, because it's whatever Turkey says, that's what it is. That's why these Mike Carpenter scoops that he magically gets, that are reported to the Ring Magazine first.
Yeah.
They pop up on the Ring, and it's right here. It's while speaking to the Ring, Turkey said, "Eddie, come put your head on the chest of your father. I will give you a warm hug. The world is filled with evil people." And magically, wow, look at that. The Ring got that scoop first by the person that owns the Ring, gives them the scoop. But yeah, the Ring is, it's like any other forum, any other magazine. They have their own agenda. They have their own way they want to speak about things, what they want to push, people they want to push. I mean, look, there's a unified champion in the same division that Virgil's in, yet he's the number one 54-pounder.
Oh, yeah.
Which is,
yeah,
that tells you everything you need to know.
Oh, yeah, 100% right there. And I like how you put that, because look, I'll say it this way, right? I respect Mike Coppinger. I respect the shit out of him. I think that a lot of people who have hated on him only did so because I think they felt this gatekeeper type of shit, right? Like, he wasn't our guy. That was how they felt, because he kind of just burst into the scene, although he had been working for places before USA Today covering different sports. So that's not true. But that's how they said it, right? That's how they said it. They said he was handpicked, that, he was a plant, you know what I mean? All that type of shit. And look, maybe at the end of the day, some of that rings true. They felt like they could, be they could trust a certain narrative from him. But at the end of the day, I think he's just done a good job. I think he's done the kind of job that you can only try to do in that position. I'll be honest, like it's not like Mike Coppinger had any control or motives in any of the major deals that went on between, either Ryder season and Turkey and DAZN and the Ring or whatever. And Max Kellerman, I long thought was going to be the voice of boxing in the future. And so when I look at everything they've done everything that I think that boxing fans would have asked for, 5-10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, but now, because of the Zuffa stuff, because of the TKO and the Dana White stuff, like it just doesn't feel good, right? Like again, I think Kopp has done a great job. I think that there's nothing about him that screams like unbiased or anything. I do think it's a problem to have your, financer be the person giving you all of those types of scoops, like you said. You know what I'm saying? And I think that speaks to a bigger problem of media in America, or maybe media in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, did TKO and like all these other places say to themselves, like, we can only ever institute our grand plan to take over once these certain chips or once these certain pieces are in place? I don't know. All I know is those pieces seem to be in place now. Yo, Mex just said Road Dogg's gone from WWE.
Yeah,
No way.
Body Slam's reporting that sources indicate to Body Slam that Road Dogg Jesse James has departed from the WWE.
Holy shit. Yo, I can't wait for that podcast shit talking interview to come out.
He was booking SmackDown.
Yeah. Oh shit, you're right. I just forgot about that. He was.
Yep, he was. So who's gonna book it now?
Yo, what if he left because they're like, we're taking the belt off of Drew?
Ooh, no.
Fuck it.
What if that's the job AJ? What if that's the job AJ got?
Bro,
hey, wouldn't that be crazy? We'll give you Road Dogg's job. You'll book SmackDown.
Oh my god, bro.
That's a good mind. I don't know if he could book, but he's a good,
they
brain
should
at
fucking
least.
use that, dude. That would have been see, this is the stuff I want. These are the storylines I want, Matt. He had a podcast too. Hopefully it comes back. Oh yeah, that's right. He don't need to wait for that Jericho guest
right back to the podcast.
Like, hell yeah, right back to the he's the Dan Bongino of the WWE. He's just going right back into the fucking shit of it and giving us all the juice.
Dust off the setup and get back in there.
He said nerds. Nah, for real. But real quick though, I do want to ask you about Oscar De La Hoya. Did you get to hear the clapback Thursday?
Yeah, I did.
What did you what are your thoughts? Whose side are you on? If this was 2006 and it's The Hills or whatever MTV bullshit show was on, and or like Flavor of Love or like one of these like soap opera real TV, shits, which side are you on? Which team, as they say, right? Are you on Team De La Hoya or are you on Team Burge after this recent development?
I don't really sit on either side because obviously, there's parts that make sense from both. The main thing though is that Virgil Ortiz was signed to a contract with Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. Oscar De La Hoya needs his piece of the pie. I mean, don't forget the situation with Ryan Garcia when he was going to have that fight in Japan. That didn't happen. Things changed. You're going to give me my piece or we're going to block the whole thing and shut you down. And similar to somebody in the camp, like he said, around Virgil Ortiz, Mikey Garcia, but Virgil Ortiz is no Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia was already a more accomplished fighter and a very skilled fighter, more skilled fighter at that, to handle the time off. Virgil needs to, as much as Oscar said it would be risky, it would be super risky for Virgil to sit out any longer than a year. and he fought last. And he said November, right? That was when his last fight was.
Yes, November.
So yeah, any longer than a year again for Virgil because he's already had health layoffs for himself that lasted quite a bit, moving him up in weight forcibly, hurting his prime. To me, he can't afford much more time off, and the time for him to make a big fight is now. So if you can still save the Boots fight by getting Golden Boy their piece of the pie that they want, or somehow finding an early way to get a buyout, then you're just gonna have to play nice with Oscar until the time comes.
Yeah. Just a real quick comment off of that last comment. That is easier said than done, Matt, because both of them seem to be drawing lines in the sand. I'm sorry, excuse me. Both of them seem to be drawing lines in the sand. Did you see Verge's post yesterday? He basically said, "I'm done. I will never fight under the Golden Boy banner ever again." What he said specifically is he's trusting in God to allow him the opportunity to pursue other opportunities. I am a firm believer in believing in God, whatever that represents to you. And I'm a firm believer in that if you continue to be the version that you're supposed to be, and provide what you're supposed to provide out there, then you will be provided for as well. It's not like some magic trick, right? And it's not like it happens like that. You could struggle for 10 years and then for 5 days, it be better, or you know what I mean? Like you earn something from it, whatever the fuck, however you want to look at it. But at this point, it's not that. I'm not trying to make this like religious in tone at all, but like not even a little bit, because I absolutely, like I said, I believe what he's saying, but you don't have the time for that, champ. I'm sorry, you don't have the time for that. God doesn't work in your time. You know what I'm saying? Like God don't work on your time. So like you're saying, I think God will provide me the opportunities, but who's to say those opportunities aren't outside of boxing? Who's to say those opportunities aren't, fucking welding or another, another kid or whatever the fuck, or moving to Alaska? Like who says that these opportunities are boxing? They're not. The only way that you're going to have opportunities in boxing provided for you is by getting through this arbitration. And the only other way you're going to fight this year, if it is for Golden Boy Promotions. What do you
it's
what do you say to that?
It's hard, bro, because he's in like I believe too. He's stuck in a situation that Oscar De La Hoya has been through too many times already. Now, like I said, this is the prime time for him to make these fights with the Boots, to make these fights with a Xander, to make these fights with a Charlo. This is the time, bro. And he has no time to waste, because I don't think more time off for Virgil Ortiz at this point in his career is going to start hurting him in the long run of all these fights, because the active fighter, especially at a higher level, the active fighter is going to be the better fighter on the night of the fights if these fights get made. So Virgil Ortiz needs to just find a way to get Golden Boy involved, to me, because I believe Oscar De La Hoya when he says he'll keep him on the shelf for nothing, and you'll just sit there and waste. Because look, who knows how long? And I believe Oscar De La Hoya, if he spends money on anything, it's good lawyers, to where he'll hold Virgil Ortiz out until he's ready to play nice with Virgil Ortiz.
You're absolutely right. And that was the next question I was going to ask you, was that Mikey Garcia comment. Real quick, let me read what Meg said. He said, Virgil needs to just play nice. We saw how long Mikey was out, how long Word was out. It would be in his best interest career-wise to just fight your deal out. Then Meg says, people play Oscar for dumb, but he got screwed bad by Heyman and Schaefer. He tightened up those contracts after that. You not finna play with him anymore. So Virgil starting a podcast because he ain't gonna be fighting without Golden Boy Promotion. That's a good one. Yo, he doing the wrestler route for sure, bro. Well, while that's true, Mario, God's promise is not anything on this earth. He could have you suffer a lifetime on earth to reward you eternally. Exactly. Right. So you could say God's going to provide these options. And I believe in that, champ. I don't believe there's nothing false about what you're saying. I just don't believe that God is going to like make sure that that opportunity comes while you're not throwing away the best years of your career. Right. Like I again, because it's not, God's not going to work on your time. He's going to work on his time. And so it is what it is. But Matt, I wanted to ask you that Mikey Garcia line that Oscar threw out there on the video. That was a threat, right? That was a threat. That was him telling, is that how you took it? Him telling Verge, basically, if you don't know the Mikey Garcia story, go to Google, go to ChatGPT, go to whatever your fucking trusted AI is, all right? And go type in Mikey Garcia and his issue with Top Rank, and then learn that story. Learn how many years he lost. Learn that he might have actually had a longer career than he ended up having had he not had that incredibly long day
off.
At
the same time, though, that's tough because Mikey still made a lot of money. Mikey still made a whole lot of money.
100%, for sure.
He had the quick run with PBC that ended in a Spence fight on pay-per-view, and then he got a massive, what wasn't it, like $10-15 million deal from Matchroom for 2 fights. That's good money. Can't be mad at that. But which is why I said that Virgil Ortiz is no Mikey. He is no Andre Ward. He's not as accomplished as those guys.
Yes.
So it's like,
isn't that worse then?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's not in a position to wait. He's not those two accomplished fighters. Mikey Garcia was a name. Andre Ward was a name that boxing missed and wanted to see the matchups of. The sport will move on from somebody like a Virgil Ortiz.
Oh, no, I agree. I agree with that fully. Here's the thing, though, right? If you're Oscar, is it really like coming from a place of like good intentions? Because let me put it this way, okay, Matt, because I titled the show Eddie Hearn in the Art of War, right? Yeah. And have you ever read The Art of War, or have you ever like even seen anything about it or anything?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you know that like the book is basically like almost like breaking down the childlike wonderment of war to a degree and instituting like this fundamental philosophy and strategic method, right? When I look at what Oscar's doing, he's playing the art of war with this Clapback Thursday. You mentioned Mikey, which is it's a thinly veiled warning threat. Not a warning, a threat. It's a thinly veiled threat. No judge in the world is going to say, Mr. De La Hoya, you are clearly threatening the guy here. At the same time, if you know anything, right? If you know anything, even a little bit about the fight game, and you hear Mikey Garcia, you know what the fuck that means, right? So De La Hoya, that was a threat. That was him saying, I will Mikey Garcia your ass with this fucking bullshit. You saying you ain't going to fight for Golden Boy again? Nah, well, then you ain't going to fight again, champ. I'm taking your best years. That was a threat to me. And then real quick, on the other side, right, one thing about the art of war that it teaches is to divide and conquer, right? And that's what you heard from Oscar De La Hoya, divide and conquer, telling him that Rick gave you bad advice. Rick's telling you the wrong things. Rick's trying to get his money, right? This isn't about you, Verge, getting your money. This isn't about about Golden Boy and Oscar and what their money. This is about Rick and him making sure that he gets his money. So that's De La Hoya trying to divide and conquer who he sees as the two that are stacked against him, Rick and Verge. And then he went after Senior, right? Showing the video of him rolling around shirtless, fighting a fan, which totally unnecessary. And again, if you're Oscar De La Hoya, are you trying to smooth things over with a client who is like a son to you? Or are you fighting a war that the stake of your entire company rests on potentially? Matt, what do you think? Is Golden Boy, is Oscar potentially playing the art of war shit here?
I think it's slightly art of war and more slightly reminding everybody that this is business. This was such like the corporate way to threaten somebody without them saying you're threatening somebody. It's like Mario, it's like me saying, Mario, I would hate to have to get you banned on social media. if something crazy were to happen. You know what I mean?
That's
I would hate
saying,
for
take
something
your
crazy
fucking
like
post
that
down.
to
Take
happen,
your
you know?
post down. Exactly.
You know,
Well
or like,
said.
you know,
Well
I would
said.
hate
Good
if
metaphor.
he essentially said, I would hate to have to ruin your career if you don't want to, you know, bend the knee and get it with the program here.
That's it. That's exactly what he said, bro. That's
So they'll say it
exactly
was
what he
such like the corporate way of like, you know, this could get really bad for you if you don't want to just get back in the fucking ant line and follow your orders. But it, like I said, it is art of war because he's also like showing him like you don't have a negotiating chip here. You know, we're gonna cost you a lot of money if you think you can just mosey on with your manager and make whatever fight you want. That's not gonna happen. Plain and simple, it's not gonna happen. And what can Virgil do? How much?
exactly.
Like how many? What is his fight
What can he
deal?
do?
That's the one thing I want to know is what is the deal? How many fights does he owe Oscar, and for how
Okay.
much?
I'll text you. I'm gonna text you instead. But yeah, there is a lot of different rumors regarding what that deal is. Now, from the people that I trust them, or not trust the most, but I think have the best reputation, it seems like they believe the deal is short enough that Verge would be a fool not to at least consider just running it out, right? At the same time, there's been talk of the word and the verbiage in the fight and what actually secures a fight for Golden Boy. Like, in other words, they can have fights that for Verge lined up that don't necessarily secure something in his contract, right? So like they were paying him X amount and he's saying Rick wanted 3 times more than that, right? That's not illegal in his contract. That's not something that you can't do, but it's not also lined out that that is part of it, right? And then and this gets back to the whole point of this, right? Like whose side are you on is what side do you see the economy on, right? Like really, because it's like you can be on Oscar's side saying, well, look, this company threw millions at the promotion and the development of Virgil Ortiz, the investment that they've placed in, no matter what Mex and Ness will tell you, no, I'm just playing, is that Verge exists as the A side, right? And that A side existence only exists because of the effort of one Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya. Now, at the same time, the contract that Verge has states something very specific that if at any point Verge's best interests aren't being like put forward, then the contract is broken, right? And so it's like this catch-22 thing, Matt, where it's like on one hand, Verge is saying my contract doesn't exist because you don't have a secured network, right? Without this theoretical fight. But then on the other side of your Oscar, you're saying, well, I don't have a network deal without the fight. And it's like who owes what?
He can prove against that now. They just Barbosa has a fight on DAZN. We're still doing business with DAZN.
Yeah, but it's like, what do you want? Do you want this 1-by-1 like fight deal, or do you want
where else is your fight gonna go?
2 years of your fighting career? Because as long as you got TV, you got a legacy. You have a promotional company, right?
But I'm pretty sure he's also got the proof. Like, hey, DAZN obviously is interested in this fight, and he fights with us. We can get him to this fight still on DAZN where he wants to be.
Yeah, no. Listen, I think, and look, and also you have to think about this, right? When Oscar De La Hoya was trying to leave Top Rank, a big aspect of this was how much he was really worth, right? Because you say, oh, well, he's worth a dollar figure, right? If you're going to pay him to fight this next fighter, then he's worth 10 million, right? But to say, no, but what is he worth as a franchise, right? Because it's one thing to say, what's Patrick Mahomes worth today at entering this new season, for the Chiefs? But then it's another thing to say, what is Patrick Mahomes worth to the franchise for this year to sell the merch he's going to sell, to establish, like, people have become long time forever Chiefs fans because of Mahomes. He will leave, he will retire, get traded, quit, whatever, and there will still be Chiefs fans because of him. That is Verge's point. That's Rick's point. That is Team Verge's point, is that right now I exist as the biggest entity in your career or in your promotion, right? The only fight that can actually be made and secured is me and Boots. And you're about to line up a multi-million-dollar TV deal or network deal, right? And I'm not getting nothing from it. I need to be compensated in some sort of way, because this fight isn't just making you money on this fight. This fight is securing your ability to stage the next fight and the next fight. And I'm giving your company life for the next 2 years. You can certainly up my check 3 times. You can certainly consider upping my check with the bonus by 3 times, right? Because of that. It's tough, bro. It's tough. I'm too much of a rational thinker to dismiss both. You know what I'm saying? Liz, I'm like, bro, if I invested in this fighter, fuck yeah, I want my get back. The only reason y'all want to see Boots and Verge is because of 50% of my promotion. I made y'all believe in Verge. Who did he beat that makes y'all think he's the 154-pound god? Nobody. Me, Golden Boy, Oscar. I made y'all believe. I Paul Heyman that motherfucker. He's a Heyman guy, and that's why y'all think he's good. He's not good because he's Verge. He's not good because he's with Robert. He's not good because he's managed with Rick. He's good because y'all think he's golden. That's why. It's like, damn, well, I could see it in that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, bro. And then you're right that they are the sole ones that made you believe. They kept him in front of the right crowds. They made the bright fights for him. He's got a decent little resume. It's just he's right where Ryan
very good resume. Very
he's right
good.
where Ryan just was, and he's not accomplished yet.
Well said. Well said.
Not accomplished.
Well said.
He can have this nice resume, retire tomorrow, and not be a Hall of Famer. That's for sure.
You know, and here's the thing, right? A lot of people who stopped believing in Verge, you know what moment it was, Matt? It was the Stanionis dropout. They thought for many that couldn't wrap their heads around the idea that a fighter could be trying to drown himself to 147 or starve himself to 147. They thought that this was a pure duck, right? And a lot of his fans that he had didn't recover from that, right? So this narrative that, like, you know, he ducked Stanionis, but then you ask yourself, how much more credit would you give him if he had Stanionis on his record right now? Right? Like I think that his record is very good. I think Verge has been handled very well. And there's a lot of reasons to give Golden Boy credit that doesn't have anything to really do with Australia, right? I mean, you can add that Eric and the guys that he surrounds obviously make up the team. And you can give him some credit for that for sure. But ultimately, they did place Verge in this position, right? They did build him in this way. And if he did fight Stanionis on that night, not feeling himself, drained to a dangerous degree, then we'd be talking about a fighter with a loss, and nobody would give a shit about this. You know what I mean? So it's like all kind of maneuvered to this point, and both De La Hoya and Verge have a reason to want to cash out on this moment.
Oh, absolutely, bro. But at the same time, let me ask you this: in big fights at 154 pounds, what fight is Virgil the A side?
All of them.
He's the A side against Xander.
Yep.
And against Boots, he's the A side.
100%. He's the A side against Boots. Xander, if it's in New York, that's a problem.
If the fight is made, if the Ring magazine is taking this to Saudi,
Verge.
But if we're doing this,
let me tell you something else real quick. Verge is the A side over Jermell Charlo. Verge would be the A side over Pacquiao right now.
No,
if Pacquiao's going to go to 154. He'd be the A side of Pacquiao right now. Let me tell you right now, Matt.
Over an active Hall of Famer, absolutely.
Mario Barrios was closer to being the A side in against Pacquiao than he ever was in his career. I'm not saying he was.
I can't give you credit for almost.
And Verge would be, because Verge has
I
stigma,
almost jumped to the moon, but only got 3 feet off the ground. I didn't go to the moon.
Hey, Matt, let me tell you why. See, and this surprises me because y'all are from the place where you should understand Verge's. I've always wanted to hear Mex say this. I never heard him say this, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it for y'all. This is why Verge is the A-side Mexican with the ceiling up to here.
No.
I'm gonna say it. This is the first time I'm gonna say it ever, but I'm gonna say it. Verge is the kind of Hispanic fighter that white people can root for. I said it, bro. White people love themselves some Verge Ortiz, right? And I'll be honest, not every Mexican fighter, not every Hispanic fighter is, a white person's love, right? Or like they don't really rock with them, right? Ricardo Mayorga. What's that?
He's only like a little over halfway sold out the Dickies Arena in his own state.
And who is the B-side on that, Matt? Do you remember who the fighter was that he fought that night?
Who was the A-side?
No. Who is the B-side?
The guy that we're buying tickets to see. Who was it? Who sells more tickets?
Okay.
Who sells more tickets? Hold on. Who sells more tickets in San Antonio or in Fort Worth? Bam or Virgil right now?
Okay, Bam. Yeah, Bam. Because as you said it, Bam is the more decorated fighter, right? So Bam should be, right?
Okay, who sells more tickets in their home cities, Boots or Virgil?
See, but that's the wrong question. See,
I'm talking about a guy who sells tickets.
You're in a debate, and you're winning right now. But listen to me.
Sells tickets.
No. See, you're asking the wrong.
Sold out an arena where Virgil is from. He sold it out.
You were setting me up. Okay, they all knew the answer to that. Okay, you didn't have to tell them. Listen to me, Matt.
But that's where you're from. If I'm Mario, that's like me going to Corpus Christi and selling out, and you can't.
But you're okay. I'm not disagreeing with that, and I'm saying you're right. That is a fair point. What I'm saying though is the premise is wrong. You should be asking who are the B-sides in those fights. You know why? Because Floyd Mayweather's top 3 pay-per-views of all time aren't against Manny Pacquiao, Conor McGregor, and Joe Blow, right? It's the B-side that dictates how much money goes up, right? Floyd wasn't doing over $1 million with Andre Berto, right? He wasn't doing it with Victor Ortiz.
Andre Berto was the end of his career.
But I'm just saying though, like nobody gave a shit about that fight, so the fight didn't sell as much.
Because we all knew what was
happening. Verge hasn't given
picked Andre Berto. It's a bad pick because he picked Andre Berto for a fucking reason. Just like he picked McGregor for a reason.
Okay, fine. But see, you're making the same point. You're just making it in a different way. I'm trying to tell you again, we don't have the data points to know Verge's ceiling because we've yet to see him with a viable B-side, a financial institution represented as a fighter in boxing to bring together. Because no fighter is a big enough attraction on his own. Look at Usyk right now, right? Usyk is fighting one of the most feared one of the most feared fighters in his genre of fighting. This fight should be on paper, everybody being like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And yet, like most boxing fans hate it, right? It's about matchup. What's the narrative in the story you can tell? Go ahead.
Do you think the people from Dallas, Texas knew who Yordenis Ugas was?
No, but they knew
who.
You bitch!
They knew who Errol Spence was, and he sold out Cowboy Stadium.
I didn't say it. You don't know who I was gonna say because they knew Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones said Ugas was.
And Jerry Jones endorsed Errol Spence Jr.
They went. I almost said Errol Spence's name and made your point for you. Look, I
thank you.
Concede that Verge is a big gamble today, but I also think that
wasn't the point we were arguing. This man's not the A-side to anybody. He's not the A-side to the unified champion.
You're wrong.
He's not the A-side to a former unified champion.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong because listen to me. I'm gonna say something, bro. You see, you're such a dick.
His
you're
two
making me say
biggest
things that
fights,
are gonna
he's not the
fucking
A
cancel
side. That's
me.
not.
Everybody's gonna
I'm
unfollow
not
me after I'm
saying
about to
he's.
say it.
I'm not saying he sucks. I'm just saying he's not the A
No, no,
side
I don't think
for
you're
the
saying
two
that.
biggest fights.
I think what you're missing is that I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Fuck. All right, fuck it.
What you're missing?
What you're missing is this: black fighters fans and white fighters fans don't give a shit about their fighters as much as when they're fighting Mexicans. There, I fucking said it. All right, I fucking said it. It doesn't make me feel good to know this stuff. I don't want to know how inherently tribal and possibly racist our beloved sport is, but it's true. Okay, black fighters and their fandom don't watch them as much as when they're fighting Mexican fighters. I'm just saying. So it's not about, who's the A side? The A side is the guy that makes the other guy seem like a bigger star. That's the A side, and that's who Verge represents.
No, that's a good B side. A really good B side.
Hey, but you know in boxing as well as I do.
What? Hold on. It's exactly what Ryan Garcia was running away from, was being the really good B side. Just look at it like that for a second. An unaccomplished fighter. Good enough wins.
Max said it. Ugas was coming off the Pacquiao win. That's why. I was going to say that. That's what I was going to say before you interrupted me, Matt. So,
So that's such a big enough win, they put it in Dallas, where Errol's from. They didn't go to Vegas. They didn't go to Los Angeles or New York. They went to Dallas.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's a combination. I'm not saying. See, that's what I'm saying. Verge
Crawford was fighting nobody, and they went to Vegas, and that was a huge fight.
No. I know, but you're missing Mex's point, though. See, Verge Ortiz, it's not just him as a fighter. It's his demographic, what he represents. Obviously, Hispanic and boxing, huge, but he represents that Dallas area. You know what I'm saying?
Really.
Like, that's different. But I'm not saying like he puts on for them. I'm saying like he's that, like the ideal fighter you see. Because of the beast, because Golden Boy's hasn't been ready to ever test him because they fucking don't want to lose their DAZN deal. No,
he can't sell out the Dickies Arena. What does the Dickies Arena hold? Like 12,000 people? He can't sell that out?
Bro,
the 2018 Vince McMahon era sold out the fucking Dickies Arena, and that shit sucked. What are we doing here?
I don't think that Verge exists as an A side alone, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right about the Pacquiao one, and that's it. Boots, I don't concede.
Why? How not? How not?
I mean, I'll tap out to Pacquiao, but not to Boots. Because Boots.
What about Xander? What about Xander?
Xander, I already conceded.
The unified champion. He's not the A side. That's all I want to hear on that one. You can debate me, Boots, left and right.
I said he was the A side. I said he was the A side.
I just wanted to hear it.
Y'all see what Matt does. Y'all see what he does. He wins a point and then he buries you with it so that you.
I just wanted to make sure that you agreed that the unified champion would be the A side.
Yes, in New York. And so we're gonna go ahead and real quick. Hey, yo, listen, real quick before we get out, I want to go over the Cody shit real quick, just real quick. Is he winning? Is he losing? Do you believe the rumors that Drew McIntyre is going to be wrestling Nick Aldis because they are afraid of what was going on with the title and decided to pull the trigger? Or was it always part of the plan? What do you think?
I would hate that, because then what if Jacob Fatu? That would be the other thing that would be the other thing that like you would have to think about, right? Because then what would this whole storyline that involved Jacob Fatu around the world champion Drew McIntyre, where like it ends with him not getting a world title or a Drew match? And if it does, like, I would hold on to that Nick Aldis match for like where are they going? Spain, right? Hold it for Backlash. Spain. Hold it for a crowd like that that'll more enjoy the two from that side of the pond, as we like to say, going across the greater European nations. that match would probably be bigger over there, much more bigger for that kind of stage outside of WrestleMania. Like I said, because Jacob Fatu deserves a WrestleMania spotlight. Now, I've seen the reportings of the fact that they want to turn it to Cody and Randy like this and in such short amount of time. I don't like, because it does make sense to, hey, we took the belt off Cody so he can be in the Rumble and so he can be in the Elimination Chamber. The belt doesn't have to be all over everything. But to quickly pivot, and I understood like not having another Drew Cody one-on-one match, but if you were to throw the Fatu factor in there, I would have accepted that. But to just completely pivot to Randy and Cody on a 4-week, 5-week build with a quick title change to where Drew doesn't get a rematch either. So like, and that's another thing. Like, if you're gonna have rules of your universe, essentially use those fucking rules. Somebody could have got a rematch at some point. Cody Rhodes wasn't supposed to get a rematch. Drew said no rematches. Sorry.
Exactly.
So it's like, I don't know, but yeah, I like the thought of the match. If it was better built, I would have liked it better at SummerSlam. So it have a summer type of build, maybe a couple tease matches in between. But
hell yeah,
I think this is where they're gonna go. It's gonna be Cody and Randy, and then I really want to see what happens with Jacob Fatu mainly after this.
Yeah, same thing. So do you okay? So what's gonna surprise you less? Friday night, 10:05, and you find out one of two things: either Cody won the belt or Drew retained. Which one would surprise you the most?
That Drew McIntyre retained the title.
Yeah, I think
Drew
you're right.
McIntyre gets a clean win over Cody Rhodes would shock me the most.
Yeah, that would shock me the most too, dude. And here's the thing: I don't dislike the Nick Aldis match. I just don't love Drew.
I don't like it for WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly, right. And here's the thing: it could have been a badass WrestleMania, except they just stopped telling their story for months and then picked it up randomly. And like, here's the thing: if Friday ends in Cody as the world champion, but it's done so in a way that further drives home the Nick Aldis plot, right? Then I'll be okay with that. The problem is that you would have to make Nick Aldis essentially responsible for Drew losing, not just, oh, you booked this title match and now I'm mad at you, because that's so vague, right? It would have to be a situation where Drew wins somehow by cheating, and Nick Aldis comes out, pulls out the Gorilla Monsoon bullshit, and he's like, restart the fucking match. And then Drew's like, bitch, you cost me this title. I want your ass. I'm going to fight you for real, for real. Fuck wrestling. Put your tights on, but we going around the arena, champ. Like, that would feel like a good blood feud. But anything less than that, you know.
But what about the big chip that all of a sudden gets stopped moving in Jacob Fatu? He was on a smooth momentum forward, and now he's just it's halted. If they do make a Drew and Fatu match, would that match feel like it should have the title over a Cody and a Randy Orton?
I think so, honestly. But listen, they're saying they wanted to do the Cody Randy now, like all along. And
but does it need the belt?
I don't think it does. I don't think it needs it. No, I don't think it needs it. But I don't think that WWE is interested without it. I really don't.
I see the spin for history that they're doing, because Randy Orton is at 14. It would put him at 15. And like, you know, they could tell that story of now he can chase John. He's only a couple more away.
Yeah. Good call.
But to me, that's why I said I would more enjoy like Cody, you know, if Cody was to have the match with Fatu, or, you know, something to keep him distracted through Mania and then bring it back to build to SummerSlam. But now he's chasing, now he's lost that, you know, because this is now it's like, you know, another person showed you that they're really willing to do what it takes. Because especially the way that Randy beat Cody, he egged him on to take on Drew McIntyre, take out Drew, and then instantly, boom, struck Viper in position, takes him down. Cody thinking that's his friend, that was his mentor.
Oof, I like
turned
that.
on him like that on a dime, showing Cody that you have to do what it takes. Eventually, getting that Cody heel turn that we want, especially. But I don't know.
If you could somehow I mean, and it would be hard to do without messing up. But if you could somehow fit Sammy into that narrative, like not in a big way, but just in a way that it messes it up. Yeah, okay, you're right. You're probably right. No, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Keep that over there. We don't
Keep that
want
over there.
it.
You're right. You're right.
We don't
You're right.
want
You're
it.
right. I will say though that the
Send
rumor
Sami Zayn back to Ring of Honor.
You're a dude. Oh man, hater. I think you and Max are just racist against Canadians. Honestly,
Yeah, he was more interesting. He was more interesting with a mask on. Him and Ricochet.
When he wouldn't even admit it was him. Hilarious, man. Yeah, no. I think you're probably right, but I will say that Sami Zayn, the rumors of a Sami Zayn Trick Williams match at Mania that results in a double turn, that's what the rumor is right now, a la Bret Hart, Stone Cold, is interesting. I don't know if those two can do it together.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's very tricky.
Yeah. No pun right there. But yeah, because like, hell yeah, I could see it working for Trick Williams because they're cheering him anyway.
Yes,
like
exactly.
They start out, he gets like a huge pop in every arena he goes to, and they start cheering him, and eventually the crowd plays along with what he is. But if he was just to go ahead and turn babyface, this guy's ready to get shot to the moon because he's already in the main event scene.
Yep.
So even if he takes a quick step back to a mid card title, short reign, and then steal an opportunity, or even give him the Money in the Bank. If Trick Williams could go babyface, win the Money in the Bank, man, I could see it now. It could be what people wanted for an LA night to happen to Trick Williams if that were to happen.
Good call. Matt, appreciate you coming on, champ. Give your socials so we can wrap up.
Yes, sir. Main channel, just gonna shout out the YouTube, youtube.com/talkingboutradio. Join us there every Monday. Join us for live fight chats as we are right now looking at the schedule. Probably going to be live for Keith Thurman and Fundora. The Wilder Chisora fight also going to be fantastic. So keep your eyes out for that. We might even go live for some baseball if we get close to the finals.
I was gonna ask y'all if y'all want to like link up together at least for a few innings. Bro, I'm just gonna put y'all over right quick because I went back and listened to the show on Monday. I did my guest spot or whatever. But I went back and listened to the show. Bro, y'all are so good. Y'all are so good, honestly. I feel like when I listen to y'all's show, I'm getting information like what's the word? Like coordinated and like condensed for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so instead of searching the web and the social medias for, the entire day that amounts to probably like an hour or two total, I really feel confident that I can tap into y'all's show and get literally everything about every major sport that I'm, that I'm interested in. You know what I mean? So absolutely. Shout out to y'all on that. Y'all have a real nose for stories and interesting narratives and spins and stuff like that. So definitely go and support everybody there and sub to Matt. We've been at Infighting FX on all platforms, YouTube, Twitch, X, and on IG at Mario Munguia, as well as at Infighting FX, and then on TikTok as well. Be live maybe tomorrow, probably not, but for sure Saturday we'll be live for the Game USA World Baseball Classic as well as the UFC fight. I forgot about that. Yeah. So be live for that. And until Monday, we appreciate it. What did you say?
I said there is a UFC fight Saturday. I forgot.
Yeah, the rematch. It's actually a decent little card too.
Oh, yeah, that's a good little card.
Three fights on there that are fucking really good. But yeah, until then, appreciate Matt, appreciate Supermax, appreciate Bruce, everybody else in the chat. Peace.